Good evening, everyone. My name is Nadia. I'm a community manager of EMAS Business School. And today we're having a webinar and we are going to talk about emotions. And our speaker today is Mikhail Molokanov.
Our topic for today, for this hour, including questions and answers, is emotional intelligence for basic human emotions and how to manage them. My clients, I have different clients. Some of them are successful professionals. Some of them are those who are on Forbes list, as well as those who are on the Forbes list, but Forbes doesn't know about this. And sometimes my clients complain about overload. Do you sometimes complain about overload? Is it an issue you're familiar with? Oh no, make pluses or something like that. You see, if you do it. Okay. What about your overload? Yes, great. And very often, very often, the root of their overload lies in the fact that they act too much and feel little. And they are not sufficiently aware of their emotions. Therefore, they often do not enough, or too much, or do not do what they should. In addition, they don't know their emotions, and it makes difficult to understand other people's emotions, and therefore how to use them to achieve goals. Actually, how to rule, how to manage people. And I can tell that they lack emotional intelligence. Do you know what IQ is? Who knows what IQ is? Okay, put pluses, and if you have a high IQ, put 5 pluses, and low IQ, just 1 plus. If you don't know what's IQ, just mark minus. Oh, great. And yes, intelligence quotient, yeah, exactly, perfect, great. Oh, Dennis, oh yeah, perfect. IQ is intelligence quotient, measures intelligence. And EQ, emotional quotient, measures the capability of individuals to recognize their own emotions and those of others, discern between different feelings and label them appropriately, use emotional information to guide thinking and behavior, and manage and or adjust emotions to adapt to environments or achieve one's goals. So actually, EQ measures how well you manage your emotions and they use them as a tool to achieve your goals. Emotional intelligence is just the ability to cope with your and other people's emotions in various situations. Why do I know something about EQ? In 1991, with my PhD thesis academic advisor, Mikhail Molokanov, I published a scientific article on emotional spaces in the Journal of the Russian Academy of Sciences. And since then, I have helped hundreds of individuals and teams develop their emotional intelligence. as well as critical and systematic thinking to become more and more successful. And I share some of my knowledge, and it's part of this knowledge would be quite classic, and a part or other part of this knowledge is withdrawn from my experience with executives, top managers, owners or business owners, and other professionals. And of course, we'll have time for your questions about probably practical situations. One of the participants asked me even beforehand. He was very interested in how to make people more happy at their work, how to make them feel this emotion. If you are interested in this topic too, I will give you an answer. And you can ask me questions just during my presentation in the chat. Ready? Where is the chat? Okay. Excuse me. Okay. Where and when high EQ can help? Do you really need it? First and foremost, EQ helps with cultural and generational diversity because emotions change from culture to culture, from generation to generation. And actually, emotions are always about differences between people. If you are not able to manage these differences, if you don't feel, if you don't know your own emotions, and if you don't understand emotions of others. Second, leaders higher expectations. Emotions are about change. Emotions are about fails. Emotions are about achievements, and you won't achieve anything higher without your emotions. Emotions are engines for your achievements. Demanding customers. Probably you noticed that the most demanding customers are very, very emotional. So without high EQ, you won't manage your customers. Obtaining work-life balance. When we talk about work-life balance, about measuring it, is it satisfactory? Is it satisfactory or not? You can measure only emotions as an indicator of it. And increase competition. Some emotions helps us to win. Some emotions helps us to be healthy. And EQ helps us to deal with all these spheres of our life. And more than that, EQ has even an financial impact. There was a research in a study using the emotional intelligence appraisal. The emotional intelligence of over 42,000 people was tested and compared their scores to their annual incomes. It was found that people with high EQs make an average of 29,000 per year more than people with low EQs. On average, every point increase in emotional intelligence adds 1,300 to an annual salary. So let's explore emotional intelligence to be more healthy, to have more higher salary, and to be more well balanced in life, in relationships, and everywhere. Let me ask you some questions. If you found that one of these points is about you, please put this number, the number of this point. You or who probably often feel like others don't get the point and makes you impatient and frustrated. Does anybody recognize? Yeah, one person, Mikhail. Oh, there was no three yet. I just put the number of this. Oh yeah, Linda. Okay, yes, it happens. Yeah, okay. Second point. Put number 2. If you are surprised, quite often surprised when others are sensitive to comments or jokes, and you think they're overreacting. You know those people who are overreacting, who don't understand us. Yeah, happens. Okay? You think being liked, that was overrated. At work, only results should be estimated and praised, but not behavior, not likeliness. Is it familiar to anybody? Number 3, that being liked at work is overrated. No, okay. Yes, it can be cultural behavior, of course. Yes, Linda, okay. 4th, you very early with your assertions and defend them with rigor. Of course, a normal person makes conclusions beforehand. And of course, a normal person can prove his or her conclusions. Yeah, Megan, of course. Number 5, you hold others to the same high expectations you hold for yourself. It's quite natural, yeah, sure. Why can't they do what I do on the same level? 6, you find others are to blame for most of the issues on your team. You find others are to blame for most of the issues on your team. Yeah, of course. You find it annoying when others expect you to know how they feel. Why should I know how you feel? Just tell me what you want. And we negotiate it. And we come to some conclusion and we make a deal or anything. Those people who complain or expressing their emotions they're terrible. Okay. Congratulations. All these points are signs that you probably lack emotional intelligence. Nobody is perfect. Of course, nobody is perfect. But if you noticed being familiar most of these points, it shows they probably really lack emotional intelligence. If you have, if you're familiar with in your behavior in your life with 1, 2, 3 of these points, it's okay. It's okay. Nobody is perfect. Nobody is perfect. But all these points are about us when we don't want to feel our emotions, or when we don't want to consider emotions of others. when we want to be mental, when we want to be only rational, but it's impossible and it's not productive. This is my model of a person as a volcano. It's very helpful in my individual sessions, psychoanalytical sessions or coaching sessions with executives and business owners. When they ask me about their emotional life, about special situations when they feel not stable, not calm, or they feel something they don't want to feel, I explain them that a person is a volcano. And as every volcano, we have impulsive magma, very hot magma. It consists of feelings, desires, emotions, passions, lusts, impulses. And it's boiling. It's boiling somewhere there. And we have a constraining crust. Constraining crusts suppress our impulsive magma. Because if we express all our feelings, desires, emotions, passions, lusts, if we express them with actions, it's very dangerous. It would be very dangerous for us and for other people. That's what constraining crust thinks. And it consists of beliefs, judgments, roles, attitudes, norms, rules, justifications, habits. If constraining crust is very strong and we don't feel our impulsive magma, where we are emotionally poor people, and more than that, we are cut off from our intuition, of our feelings, our emotions, of our human essence. But if impulsive magma breaks through constraining crust, we become crazy. We are not social. So we should find a balance. We should find a balance between beliefs, judgments, roles, and feelings, desires, and emotions. How to do that? And what's the problem to find a balance? There is a real problem because constraining crust is monological. It's just judge. It says what to do, what not to do, what is wrong, what is right. And constraining crust is not able to hear because impulsive magma is wordless. When constraining crust see impulsive magma coming up, it asked it, what do you want? Where are you going? But impulsive magma is not able to answer because it's just impulses. So the main work, the main tool, the main way to develop your emotional intelligence, to find the balance between constraining crust of beliefs and impulsive magma of feelings, is to develop, to raise your own internal negotiator. internal negotiator is a psychological structure, your internal psychological structure, which can make or organize a dialogue between constraining crust and impulsive magma. It helps constraining crust to be not so strong, not so conservative, and it helps impulsive magma to explain itself. So the first and foremost, the first step you should do, developing your emotional intelligence, is to help your impulsive magma explain itself. How can we do it? We have 4 core skills of emotional intelligence. They are very classic. The first one, self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and managing emotions, relationship management. First, we should be aware of our emotions, not judge them, just be with them. Second, we should have an ability to use this awareness to stay flexible and positively direct our emotions, managing our emotional reactions to situations and people. Then, social awareness is an ability to accurately pick up on emotions in other people and get what is really going on, to understand emotions of other people. And finally, relationship management. Our ability to use awareness of our emotions and the emotions of others, manage interactions successfully. Letting emotional awareness guide clear communication and effective handling of conflict. Go on, let's go on. Self-awareness. This volcano comparison provides very practical insights here. Yeah, we will allow this volcano. Yes, thank you. It really works. And this volcano model explain very much, actually, everything about emotions. And you can use it to develop your own instruments of emotional intelligence. You see here on this picture a person, an apple. It's not a Steve Jobs apple. It's after Steve Jobs apple, I guess, with very low self-awareness. Why so? I guess if this person will be aware of himself or herself, it would be very painful for him because he thinks of himself as a very good person, good-looking person, but reality is not so good. Self-awareness sometimes painful, but how to do it? How to do it? Self-awareness is working with your impulsive magma. Impulsive magma is understanding what your emotions tell you. First and foremost, there are 4 basic primary emotions. And if you want to develop your self-awareness, just start with these basic primary emotions. Try to register when you feel anger, when you feel joy, or something like that, something like anger, sadness, grief, or fear. These are basic emotions, because many actions, many instruments, including managerial instruments, sales instruments, presentation instruments, are based on these basic emotions. For example, do you know Kenneth Thomas and Ralph Gilman styles dealing with conflict or negotiation styles? Please let me know if yes or plus. Do you know Kenneth Thomas and Ralph Gilman styles dealing with conflicts? No. Okay, shortly. When you deal with conflicts or negotiate, you can do in two ways. You can insist on your own position or make concessions during this negotiation or conflict resolution. And you can accept others' position or ignore others' position. And that's, you'll have 4 styles or 4 strategies for negotiation or conflict. The first one is accommodation. It's a very good strategy if you have lot of time, if you need to understand your counterpart better, and if you need to keep your relationship good with your partner. Avoiding strategy. It's a very good strategy for minor questions, for minor issues. Just escape from the conflict, or just don't discuss it. Competitive. If you need this result, but you don't care about relationships, you can be competitive. You can insist and move forward. Or if you have no time. And sometimes the best strategy is a strategy of collaboration. You're trying to find a way to combine your interests and interests of your partner, and even to make something new to satisfy both sides. You can find about these styles or strategies in the web easily, and I recommend you to use them in your conflicts, in your negotiations. But sometimes it's hard to keep the strategy because your emotional state is changing, and you can use those basic emotions because compromising to the center, because joy, feel joy, induce joy in yourself for being collaborative. Sadness will help you being accommodative. Fear will help you being avoiding, and anger competitive. Sometimes it's very difficult to use any of these strategies without a proper or corresponding state, your emotional state. One more question. If you had an experience of selling anything, his sole model is to find a win-win position. No, I would say, Sergey, that win-win position is a strategy of collaborative. and it's not always good to stay on win-win position. Is accommodating a relationship the yes, yes smile? Yeah, on emotional level, on communication level, yes. Actually, yes, I agree with you. So the best way is to try be friendly. Usual approach for the novel way of life, right? No. Okay. Georgie. Of course. Generally, yes. I would say. I would say that usually the best way is try not to irritate another person. You not necessary should be friendly or too friendly. But you should not irritate other person if it's not a special manipulation from your side. In this case, if you want him to be aggressive and then make him guilty for his aggression, in this case, you can be not friendly, but can be irritating. But in a normal way, in the most situations, I would recommend you to be friendly or at least neutral or at least not irritating. Because when you are friendly, we have talked about that. You're friendly. You help a person be more open, and you'll understand him much better than when you irritate him. Competitive approach is not always connected to anger. It's connected to ambition and a desire to win. Yes, Mikhail. What I'm saying that feeling yourself a bit angry will help you to use a competitive approach. And more than that, the root of most ambitions and desire to win, emotional root, is anger. You can not be aware of it. It depends on your emotional intelligence, but the emotional root is anger. There are some people who are generally annoying despite you trying to be accommodating. How about handle such? There is no rule of thumb. You should understand those people needs, desires. Probably you make something they don't like you to do. So just investigate the situation. There are people. So not any of these strategies is the best strategy. It depends on a specific situation. There are people who sometimes see being accommodative as weakness. What could be done in this case? Not to be accommodating, to show your strength first, and only then to go to accommodating style. When they be sure that your accommodating style is not a sign of your weakness. I think that's okay. Perfect. So I see that someone had an experience of selling people. Okay. Anyway, you have an experience of being a customer or clients and so on. Come on. Usual sales process stages are probably you know. First, preparation. When you have a research on your product, on the market, on your competitors, on your clients, and so on. Second, you make a contact with your clients, calling him, talking about whether anything, investigating client's needs. You should understand what he or she really needs. Then, discussion, your suggestion. You suggest something, you offer something, and discuss it. Make presentation and discuss, answering his or her questions. And finally, closing. And actually, in every sales, in every call, all of these stages are very important. But sometimes, as a salesperson, has difficulties to switch from one stage to another stage. Many of us are inclined to stick to one or two stages only. Some of us are very bad in preparation. Some of us are very bad in closing. If you have no experience in sales, just think about this model as a model of a pursuing person. If you want to pursue someone, first you should prepare yourself to understand this person better. Second, make contact, investigating his needs, and so on. And if you take basic emotions, if you consider basic emotions, primary emotions, they also would help you with switching from this stage to the stage, because, as you probably understood already, fear, a slight fear, will help you be more prepared, will help you to stay on this stage for proper preparation. Sadness. Light sadness will help you to make a good contact with the client and investigate client's needs. What do I mean? I mean that the most problems of this stage are problems of self-expression. We try to start presenting, not doing proper listening to a client or a person whom we want to pursue. So sadness is a good mood to be a good listener. Yes, I understand you. You need joy to make a good presentation and discussion. And for closing, you need a light anger, a bit anger. Because here you should be high directive. You should tell a person when to pay, how to pay, what to do next. So, in my research, I collected about 200 models, managerial models, communication models, who are deeply linked with those basic emotions. And unfortunately, my book, Managerial Special Forces, is not translated from Russian. But if you read Russian, you can find all those models there and use basic emotions to improve your presentation skills, sales skills, negotiation skills, managerial skills, and so on. So the first step about awareness, you should distinguish all these emotions. And the best way is every day, every 5 minutes, ask yourself, what do I feel now? What do I feel now? And probably you say, I don't know anything. I don't feel anything. Okay, it happens. It happens, but probably you are tired. Probably you have some physical discomfort or anything. Try to register at least anything, but go deeper, deeper, and deeper. And especially when you feel lots of thoughts in your head, especially when you have lots of unproductive thoughts. Very often, those unproductive thoughts are just a pure defense mechanism from our emotions. This is your crust, is suppressing your emotions. So if you don't feel anything, start with the question: is it like fear? Is it like sadness? Is it like anger? Or probably, is it like joy? If I would have known what it is, what would it be? Oh, probably anger. Okay, anger. Just investigate yourself. Be closer to your emotional level. We said when we feel final grade from how low degree species. Okay, America, great. So, Mikhail, my crust is very thin. Probably you should make it a bit stronger, but it's very important. When the crust is very thin, when impulsive magma is very strong, when an impulsive magma is very strong, in a case when you don't feel it beforehand, when you know, for example, you're going okay, impulsive magma makes some signs of what's happening around us, or what's happening in our psyche. And very often a person feels horror. Oh, it's horrible. It's terrible. But about some situation. But in many cases, it means the only thing that he didn't allow himself to feel a slight fear. And if you don't, you're afraid of feeling of fear, then magma started increase fear to anxiety, to horror, and finally it break through the crust. But our task, our aim, to catch the emotions on a very subtle level. And if you can feel your emotions on a very subtle level, impulsive magma will be satisfied. It would say, okay, you listen to me, you hear me, I gave you a signal. Okay, let's be together. So most of the very strong emotions are because we did not let ourselves to feel them on a more subtle level. It's probably time located against far. Thank you for the great name from the okay. Okay. How do you feel now? Please put down in the chat. How do you feel now? Give me an answer. Great, good, okay. Something here. Great, but just expand your alphabet, expand your emotional language. Happy, angry, depressed, creative, inspired, worried, sad, pleased, playful, cheerful, uneasy, stressed, delighted, shocked, anxious, content, miserable, gloomy, nervous, heartbroken, surprised, motivated. Or is there another word to describe how you feel now? Playful, tired, yes, tired, driven by tired. Okay, let's go. If you send me an email, I'll send you all these slides because I prepared lots of information with good exercises. But I feel, considering your emotions, that it's much better if you'll just take these slides and do all exercises yourself. And we have 13 minutes left, and I'd rather answer your questions. But of course, I'll give you a short journey about this. This is self-awareness or self-awareness exercise. It's very good. You know, I guarantee that you would feel yourself much better if you make a habit to ask yourself what you feel as often as it is possible. And it doesn't matter what you do. You don't need to do anything with your feelings. Just feel. Just learn this language of emotions. And you will, I guarantee you, based on experience of working with top managers, executives, business owners, that you'll be much more and more successful. Sometimes it's even enough. One of my clients asked me after working with him for several months, Mikhail, how could was it possible to live in this emotional way, in this emotionally aware way earlier? Why didn't I do that? I would have saved lots of money, because now I understand my emotions, I understand emotions of my partners, and then I'm not emotionally driven. I'm much more profit driven. I don't do many things because of my feeling guilty or my feeling shame and anything. Again and again, don't be afraid of your emotions. Feeling your emotions helps you to manage them better. Not feeling, suppressing them, makes your magma, impulsive magma, coming up and breaking everything. Okay. A self-awareness exercise. It's a good exercise. You'll do it. Just it's playing with your emotions. Feel it and letting it go. Feel it and letting it go. Self-management. Self-management strategy. Breathe. Breathing is the best way to deal with your emotions. Sleep on it. Get control of the voices in your head. And the best tool to get control of the voices of your head is just to ask yourself, what emotions do I try to suppress with these voices? What emotions, what particular emotions? Learn something from everybody. Social awareness. A very good tool to be more social awareness is to be a good communicator and listener. Because social awareness, how to develop social awareness, is to register emotions of other people and to check your correctness of this registration. But to check it, you should very politely, you should very smoothly ask a person what he or she thinks. And you'd be better understand the emotions of other people when you know about them as much as possible. So learn people as a whole, but register their emotions. When you know what a person feels, you have a tool to manage a person, manage emotionally, practically, mentally, anyway. Relationship management. The first step to manage a person, to manage relationships, is not to irritate him or her. Be polite, be open, relax a person, understand, and of course, ask for feedback. When you do something, ask people what do they feel about your actions. Because feedback, proper feedback, is the only way to learn on your experience how to manage relationships and how to manage other people and how to influence. But of course, there are some downsides of being very emotionally intelligent. Low levels of creativity and innovation potential. When you are creativity and innovation is expressing yourself, sometimes not taking into account environment or other people, and being sometimes being very rigid. And research says that a high level of emotional intelligence leads to lower levels of creativity. Emotional intelligence people sometimes are not so brave to express their creativity. Difficulty giving and receiving negative feedback. Of course, I'm too sensitive. I think I start thinking not about the result. I start thinking about the person. Reluctance to ruffle people's feathers. Although you're psychologically well endowed by entry level of mid-level management jobs, senior leadership roles will require the ability to make unpopular choices often, bring about change, and focus on driving results, even at the expense of sacrificing employee relations. If you're a salesperson, very high, or if you're a service person, very high emotional intelligence is very good for you. But many executives and business owners has not a high emotional intelligence. And that's why they're successful. Because they have to make very difficult decisions, sacrificing other people. Sometimes people with high emotional intelligence are not too good in logic, and sometimes it irritates other people. An aversion to risk. Yes, aversion to risks. And it's bad if you are in an innovative venture. because you should find a balance between risk-taking and risk avoidance. So it's your choice. But from my practice, working with different people, I would recommend to start developing your emotional intelligence higher, but not to become too fanatic about it. This is all the emotional practices which were listed in the slides. And I would recommend you, a book in English, Emotional Intelligence. It's quite good book, especially for beginners. And you will find on YouTube its audio version. For those who read in Russian, my special forces, managerial special forces, Mikhail Molokanov. Thank you. I was very glad to be with you.
And Mikhail, thank you. Thank you very much. So students, of course, we will send you the presentation. You know that we always send you all presentations. So we just send it a bit later. And thank you very much, Mikhail, for your nice webinar and nice presentation. And I think we can finish for now and have a nice next webinar. So yeah, dear students, have a nice evening.